right, welcome back everyone to Flip the Odds. My name is Ethan, obviously, and this is my buddy CJ. He
What's going
is
on?
my high school friend that I met in sophomore year, and is now all the way in Iowa. So yeah, he's a big time sports guy out there. If
Huge.
you know his school, do you want to introduce yourself? I guess.
Yeah, my name's CJ Rettig. I'm currently a men's volleyball player at William Penn University in Oskaloosa, Iowa. Yep, senior now.
Yep. So if you're around that area, you definitely know who he is. He's big time in my opinion. So yeah, we're gonna hop right into it. Episode 4. Last week was not the greatest of weeks. I ended at exactly 500 with 7 wins and 7 losses. And now all time, I'm 32 wins, 28 losses. So not terrible. And as far as my locks go, Cincy took a dub. Tampa Bay was with a really shocking loss. Even if they did lose, no one could have expected it to be the way they did. That was pretty bad. And KC won. So I was two and one, and now I'm just above 500 all time. For my locks, I'm at 8-7, and I want to hop into my locks this week and CJ's locks for week 8. So we can go back and forth. My first lock for this week is Dallas versus Chicago at minus 420. I have Dallas winning. I just think with Dak Prescott coming back, they look really good. He only threw one touchdown. They still took a dub last week. So overall, I don't think it's too big of an issue going against Chicago, even though they did just come off of a win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with one of my locks is Arizona at Minnesota. Minnesota's tough at home. Arizona's kind of struggling with the offensive stuff. You saw the bickerment between Kyler and his coach
Yeah,
Cliff and all that, but I really like Minnesota at home.
I love it. I love it. My second one is Cincinnati at Cleveland on Monday Night Football. Heavy favorites, I think. Actually, I'm not too sure what the exact number was for this one, but I'll put it right below me. And I think since he wins, Joe Burrow looks like everything's clicking for him now. His three wide receivers are just they're feeling it. Hayden Hurst is doing well, and Joe Mixon's also popping off. So with everybody doing their roles, I don't think there's a way that the offense can slack that much, even if the defense were to give up a lot of points to Cleveland.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Um, my next lock I got is Green Bay at Buffalo. Um, Buffalo all the way. I mean, Green Bay struggled on the road. Green Bay struggled at home. I still think there's struggles within their offensive schemes and getting the young receivers on board with all that, especially in a very cold Buffalo atmosphere.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I thought you were gonna say Green Bay.
No,
I was terrified because
no,
I wanted to put them on my locks too, as far as Buffalo, because Buffalo looks like by far the number one team in the league. Uh, Heavy favorites for the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They just look way too strong. The only team I could
yeah,
see giving them a run for their money is also in the AFC, so it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, right? But
exactly. Yep.
that's going to be tough. I don't think Green Bay is looking terrible this year, but I can't really speak because Denver's looking worse. So, um, yeah, next I have the Eagles versus the Steelers. I think the Eagles kill them. I know the Steelers play decent and they're not a terrible team, but I think I want to see how long they can go undefeated for.
That
Um,
is true.
I think so. All three of mine are pretty big favorites. Minus 460 for this one, and I think this one is pretty simple.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I mean, Philadelphia is looking good on all sides of the ball right now.
All right. And then, do you have any more? That's it. That's it for
That's
yours.
it for my
Sounds
locks.
good. All right, we'll hop into upsets, and I'll start off. I think a little bit of bias regarding this one. I I'm hoping Russell Wilson comes back. So we typically film these on Tuesdays. So just to be clear, I don't know if Russell Wilson is playing yet or not. But if he is playing, I want to say Denver beats Jacksonville. Very early game in London, plus 125. We we're not. I want to say we're not that bad. We just can't convert in the red zone. Um, Last week I don't want to like. I just don't want to remember this week. It was hard to watch. Like I remember putting on my story. It's a very hard time to be a Broncos fan right now. It's not fun to watch these games, even though I make myself watch them. And on top of that, Indy's not doing well. But I don't think Jacksonville is that good of a team. And I'll touch on it later. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to struggle against the Denver defense. So if our defense can hold up, hopefully Russell Wilson gives London a good run for their money.
I like that. I mean, yeah, I think Denver's had some challenges, but they have all the pieces to succeed, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so one of my upsets I'm going with is Las Vegas at New Orleans. I think I think Derek comes in strong and connects with his receivers right away, Renfro, Adams, you name it. And I think New Orleans is still kind of struggling on some things. They're not completely connected on the defensive side either. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
So you have the Raiders.
So yes, yeah, I have the Raiders.
Okay.
I have the Raiders winning that one.
Okay. I think I could be wrong, but I think the Raiders are favorites.
Are they?
Because I thought I had New Orleans as the underdog winning that one. So this is our first, I guess, this like
Ooh.
going against each other. I think I don't know. I don't know why when I looked at it, I thought the Saints would win. It's just they. I don't know. Kamara looks like he's back in form. He looks healthy, and I mean he's playing well. Taysom Hill, it still seems like teams haven't figured him out yet. So I want to. I mean, regardless, upset or not, you take the Raiders. I'll take the Saints. I like it. It's interesting. I think I don't know who's starting this week for New Orleans, but if it's Andy Dalton again, he played pretty well last week. I have to
Yeah, he
say,
did.
but I always love watching Taysom Hill. Like whenever he comes in the game, he can line up in the slot, tight end, or running back sometimes. But yeah, I always
I
hope for the
agree.
Saints to win. But yeah, so do you have another upset?
Yeah, I have Washington at Indianapolis.
Okay.
Um, that's a big one. I'm a firm believer in Heineke. He was our backup in Carolina for a while, um, and he's a great guy. First of all, he's a baller,
I'm
absolute
I'm gonna
absolute
tell you,
beast.
I knowing that also I'm gonna touch on it a little bit later that Matt Ryan is now not starting. I don't know why
Correct.
the Colts are the favorites. It doesn't make any sense to me. We saw Heineke play pretty well on his own on his first game back. So I mean that looks like a kind of a trap to me if you take India's favorites. But
Yeah,
obviously I'm gonna take them.
yeah,
Like if I yeah.
I'm taking Washington.
Hmm.
By far. And I love the way the quarterbacks over there set in with Curtis Samuel and McLaurin on the ball. Montez Sweat is a beast at the line. Yeah, and you have
They
young Sam Ellinger starting the game for his first start, I believe, and he's still fresh into the league. So we'll see.
yeah, it's I don't know. We have a couple good games I'd say this week, but that one I can't say too much that I think Indy would have the biggest chance. But real quick before we go into like new news updates, I want to just run down obviously my picks for every single game, if you're cool with that.
Absolutely.
So I have Baltimore beating Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay plays the way they played last week, obviously I hope Mike Evans does well because I have him. But yeah, Baltimore will win. That's not even a question. I have or I guess Denver beating Jacksonville. You guys heard that. And then I have Minnesota beating Arizona, light work. Miami over Detroit. Dallas over Chicago. I have the Saints over the Raiders. And then I have the Falcons over the Panthers. The Patriots over the Jets. If the Patriots lose that, I'll be really upset because I can't believe the Jets are doing so well. Like, it frustrates me already that the Broncos lost to the Jets. And if I choose against the Jets again and we lose, oh my God. That
Robert Salah is looking really good at
it's
head coach right now.
it's amazing, and their running game looks really strong. So I don't like it.
We'll
Uh,
see now without
yeah,
with Brees Hall out, but
facts. So the Eagles I have over the Steelers. I have let's see, the Titans beating the Texans. Don't think Houston is at all going to be a contender, let alone like beating them. I have the Colts over the Commanders. That's pure bias. I think Washington will win, but I want the Colts to win. So that's where the stuff kind of comes in. And then I have the Giants beating the Seahawks. And last time I chose the Rams beating the Niners as a lock. And I lost. But I'm gonna do it again. Not as a lock, but I just have them winning. I know Jimmy G is looking really, really good. I know they have CMC and he looked and everybody loves him. He did fairly well for his first game, barely knowing the playbook. So I'm just hoping Matthew Stafford comes back and has a good game after a bye week. Cooper Cup gets his every week. It's just a matter of whether or not he can spread the ball more than just Cooper Kupp and Higbee, and if Jalen Ramsey can have like a stable defensive lineup next week. And then last, I have, or not last, but Sunday Night Football. I feel like is the best game, only because it's always Buffalo. Um, but I always look forward to watching Buffalo. I'm taking them for sure, and I have the Bengals over the Browns. So hopefully we go a little bit over 500. Can't say I'm expecting the Colts to win, so that might be an L, but we'll work with that. Um, but yeah, so I know this happened last week, and obviously I filmed a little earlier in the week, so we didn't get our reactions to it. But I wanted to hear your opinions on the Christian McCaffrey trade. Who you think won? What your initial reactions were, and all that.
Yeah, so being a Carolina Panthers fan, um, tough to see him go. It is. It's just we're rebuilding.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line. We are. And his injuries over the past few years have just not helped us at all. Um, and getting what we got in return, the picks, I'm excited about it. I think we won the trade for sure.
yeah,
Um, but I'm excited to see what he does. I hope he succeeds at San Francisco. I'm hoping Jimmy freaking clutches up
yeah.
and actually helps him out. So we'll see.
I mean, I think Jimmy G's been doing pretty well. I think the weird thing to me was CMC or running backs were never the issue for the 49ers, in my opinion. I thought they looked fine on offense. I always thought the problem was at quarterback, and I liked it when Jimmy G came back because he seems more stable. He knows the offense better, and obviously when he's in the game, they pass a little bit more. They get the ball to Debo, Brandon Ayuk, I forgot how to pronounce the name, and George Kittle, right? So
Yeah.
he gets those guys involved, and they're able to make games very interesting to watch. But I mean, you add firepower like CMC, and you can't really complain. And I love CMC, but I feel like 100% the Niners lost. Um, you're you're giving so much of a future into someone who can get hurt next week. And obviously everybody can get hurt next week, but he's so injury prone after his prior injuries, it makes it hard to trust that. Um, but obviously I want to see him go far. I want to see the Niners do well. Um, I'm in NorCal right now, so that's the vibe I get from everybody. They love the 49ers. But yeah, how about Brees Hall's injury?
Yeah, that was tough. Obviously being going to school in Iowa, and he's a Iowa State guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's that the state took that one tough. But that one's sad. I think the Jets got a good pickup though in James Robertson,
Yeah.
whom they signed, and I think he's a beast. Just underutilized really. And I think if they use him more in that offense, I think he'll click in right away. And it's a team that's up and coming, that is really making a move forward. So I think he has a lot of potential in New York, but sad to see Brees go.
I think so as well. The sad part for me is that I won this week in one of my fantasy leagues because Brees Hall got hurt, and it was hard to see because I was watching that game, because we were playing the Broncos, and he went down, and I was like, oh, he'll get right back up. Nothing. He probably didn't hurt himself, but he was laying there for a while. I was like, oh no. And this comes after a 62-yard touchdown, right? So one, I'm terrified. I only won by 6, and I was scared. Like I'm gonna lose. Um, I was hoping, but either way, I was hoping the guy came back because you never like to see someone hurt, especially out for the season when you hear that. Um, and
Especially that good too.
yeah, he was picking it up. I think he had a touchdown in 4 games straight now. Uh,
Yeah,
he looks so comfortable, and I mean, you kind of saw him taking Michael Carter's like all of his playtime, and I think now we're gonna kind of see James Robinson split touches with Michael Carter more of the way that Michael Carter and Brees Hall were going to at the start until Brees Hall kind of exploded. So, and because Michael Carter showed like he was still good after Brees Hall left, but it's sad that a team that wasn't supposed to be good in anybody's eyes had hope, and Brees Hall's injury, along with I think 2 others on the defensive side, kind of just took it away. And the worst part is the Broncos still couldn't win. Like they're that bad. So hard to see. But for the games he did play, James Robinson put up some pretty solid numbers this year. I think he had one game over 100 yards, or maybe at 100, and another one over 50. But um, I'm not surprised that they went after James Robinson, especially because Travis Etienne has been taking over the role in Jacksonville. But yeah, I like it. I like the trade. Excited to see
Yeah,
what the Jets do going further.
very smart pickup. Yeah,
And I guess you talk about a team like the Jets doing much better than everybody expected. Now I want to talk about the teams that aren't doing as good as everybody wanted them to. Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and the Chargers. I think these are teams that should be okay, barring Green Bay, because maybe we all know that out of the three of them, it's probably hardest for them to win because of their lack of wide receivers, right? They don't have any star power when it comes to that, and Aaron Rodgers is kind of like forced to make do with what he has. You would think Aaron Jones and Ada Dillon they do a little bit more, but I feel like the coaching is kind of swaying it in a way where it's a lot on Aaron Rodgers right now. So, what are your opinions on those three teams and what they're up to?
yeah. Um, I mean, just across the league right now, you're seeing pretty good teams that have been historically good in the past, sitting at that 3-4, 4-3
Mm-hmm.
range, which is just strange. Um, but Green Bay, I think, I think Aaron wasn't. I don't think he was firm enough in wanting some good talent in the wideout
Mm-hmm.
position over the offseason. I don't think he made a strong push for wanting that. And I think he thought this young crew was going to get it done. I think they can. I don't think they can get it done in the time span of Aaron Rodgers, though, which is tough because, every receiver and usually a lot of really good receivers have to cultivate over a number of years before they're breakout receivers, usually. Um, but Tampa Bay is another solid team. Once again, they have all the pieces. Just it's not clicking, and I'm wondering if it's the transition from Bruce Arians to Todd Bowles or what it is. But it's just not clicking. I obviously I'm as an athlete, I'll tell you right now that it for sure is for Tom Brady, as much as he might not say it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's for sure off the field stuff that
Oh,
is
for sure.
affecting some of his
Yeah.
play at least some.
How do you have like
So I don't know. It's very interesting.
it's crazy to me like how you have Tom Brady at quarterback and 23 points a game, like against a Carolina defense.
Yeah,
It amazed me, and it was like because it's not like he lost his talent. It's not like he's too old. He's still hit, like okay. Mike Evans should have caught that the first drive TD. Um, that was sad to watch considering I have the dude in three leagues. But well, whatever. Like besides that, you have to make those plays not even for fantasy purposes, but for Tom Brady to trust you because. I mean, we've all seen this guy like melt down on the sideline, throw his tablet. It's not a good vibe when your quarterback is like that, right? And you don't want. It's kind of like if your star player in basketball is, blaming everything on everyone else. Nobody's gonna
yeah,
want to like help him, right? The O line's not gonna want to help Tom Brady, even though he's yelling at them the most. But they look. I don't know. I feel like
yeah.
Green Bay they have issues, and I would not say that I expect it, but I knew it would be hard for Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady, I disagree. Like, I think this guy should have come out and they should be one of the top teams right now. You should not be losing to a team like Carolina, which obviously I love it for you. Um, I did not see that coming at all, but uh, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
that's tough.
hard to.
I think, yeah, I think it's a lot of it is really, especially with the Carolina game,
Mm-hmm,
the the reporters were saying the receiving crew mentioned to them that that was one of their best weeks of practices,
mm-hmm,
and they still came out flat. It just didn't correlate over to the game.
mm-hmm.
I also think Carolina has a lot of, they're just playing with house money right now, which is cool because I mean, their head coach, Steve Wilkes, I think it is, their interim head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He is from a Carolina. He's a Carolina man. He is just trying to prove himself. This is his first shot at it. And I think he has a good chance of staying head coach in Carolina, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
I think the
But
thing
he's just strong.
it looks so sad that they own like Tom Brady's always been like a very big big on offense. So you always see big offensive production when he's at quarterback. They've only had one game over 21 points, I want to say, this year. They had 31 against KC. I'm looking at it right now. They had two games where they hit 21, or no, one game where they hit 21, and then they had three last week. It's it's more of like a, not like I'm upset, but it's confusing because this is a year where so many random teams are dropping 30, 35. You have Detroit against Seattle. Like maybe their defense is just terrible, right? But their games ending 40 to 30. And you have Tom Brady struggling out here to connect with some of the best receivers he's had. He's played with, I think you want to compare it to his past receivers. It's really just Gronk and Edelman. And like at the top, and now you have someone like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and you're struggling to like put up numbers. It's scary. And then like I want to tie that into like the Chargers. I don't know how they're losing. They have like the Chargers have some like one of the best teams offensively that I want to say we have this year. I don't know.
Without a doubt. Yep.
It's Eckler's doing very well, um, but it looks like they just aren't the same team that they were last year. If that makes any sense.
No, 100%. It's just something's not clicking in it, and I don't know if their defense isn't looking bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's their offense that are just they can't find in tune stuff together on that. But with all these teams, that we thought would be at the top, this makes room for Buffalo to really make their push at that
Yeah.
Super Bowl. They've had a couple standing in their way in the past. Now, honestly, I think it's just Kansas City that's
Yeah.
standing in their way,
I
and
think
they've proven that they can beat them. So I think,
KC is scary. I don't think the Eagles are quite at like their record shows they're better, right? But I don't think they're as good as Baltimore even or the Bills. So I think the top three. Obviously, I'm gonna run through later, but yeah, no, I don't think the Eagles really stand a chance. For me, it's also between the Bills and Chiefs.
yeah, for sure.
All right, and then next, another team before we go into our QBs. But I want to touch on Denver real quick. In your opinion, on if you do watch, what do you think is the issue in terms of Denver? Because obviously, the quarterback is an issue with Russell Wilson out, right? And then my opinion watching is I think a lot of it falls on our coaching. Um, because I watch every game every week, and I think we have to give Russell Wilson a little bit more freedom. I think he's earned that in the past, and it looks too. I don't know. The choice of when to run and when to pass, or like what type of defense we're playing, just doesn't really make sense in some situations. Like I'm watching a game and I'm like, okay, like obviously it's like third and long, right? We have to throw the ball. You have Russell Wilson, like obviously not this week. Um, this week I didn't really care. That was just a stupid game. Um, but you have Russell Wilson. Take advantage of the time while you have Russell Wilson. You, the past 4 years we've been struggling at the quarterback position. You spend so much time to get, so much money to get Russell Wilson, and then you just don't utilize him in big time scenarios. But he proves time and time again he can make the big plays. Like when they were coming down to the wire, he throws out a deep bomb. He still has his arm, but we don't go back to it. I don't know why. If yeah, just your opinion if you've seen any
Yeah.
games.
I have. I unfortunately watched the Chargers Broncos game.
Oh,
But no, it's and let me tell you, they on paper have the best team in the league. I
hmm
don't care what you say. Their defense, Patrick Surtain is one of the best cornerbacks in the league and is making that well known. Their offensive line is strong. And then you have the tools like uh, Cortland Sutton, who's a strong, big, athletic receiver. You have Jerry Judy, you have Hamler. I mean, you have tools. You have your running backs who are. I know Williams is out, but
yeah.
you still got Melvin Gordon,
And
who
we just
didn't
picked
play a
up
snap.
Latavius Murray, who's
Yeah, and
not
he's
a
still
bad
rushing the
player.
ball. No, exactly. And the thing, Nathaniel Hackett coming from Green Bay,
hmm
um, it's it's a different kind of quarterback. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers cannot be compared.
True, that's a
I
big
don't
point.
think so. And so just because of the dual threat that Russell has, that Aaron really never had,
hmm
and so he didn't. There's going to be a disconnect, and there will be until the right coach comes in and sets the standard for the offense. Um, Hackett's got to get some other coaches on board with what they want and what they see as success.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with that. That's a really really good point. We have a great defense. You can see that by the numbers we limit our team, the opponents to. We're not losing these games by a lot, and we're not winning these games by a lot. It's because our offense can't produce. Our defense is doing their job. I think the most we lost by is by 9 to the Raiders. Um, and the ones we win are like we lost 2 in OT, and we I mean, the Chargers one was stupid because that shouldn't you shouldn't muff that. But I mean, the other ones we're winning are barely scraping out wins. So our record obviously could go several different ways. Um, but I mean, okay, I'm looking at it right now. You lost by 1 to the Seahawks. You beat the Texans, beat the Niners. You lost by 3 to the Colts. You lost by 3 to the Chargers, and you lost by a touchdown to the Jets. That's a hard time to just watch these games when you're like, okay, we need a touchdown, but we're like the worst team in the league in the red zone. You can get all the way to the red zone, and you just can't make it. You can't score a touchdown. I don't know. It,
Yeah.
you know,
I think honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think you need to hit the panic button just yet.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I don't want
there
to.
there is time. I mean,
Hmm.
nothing ever clicks right away. I
Right.
mean, Tom Brady is a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation, but it's not going to
He
click right
needs
away
Gronk back.
just because it didn't have the true establishment before all these guys came in there. So I think it'll come about. I think so.
All right, and then I have 3 questions as far as quarterbacks go. First off, do you think Joe Burrow can be considered at this point an elite quarterback, like up there with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen? Is he up there yet, or is he still trying to make his case? Because that's 2 weeks in a row he's put up a really really good performance, and he looks as if he's right back to where he was last year, performing at just that level. He had a couple weeks where he struggled, but do you think he's there yet, or is he still like a tier below?
No, I think he's there. I think he's there because of the way he led a very new team last year. I love their head coach, and he knows what it's about. And Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. I think in this
Yeah,
day and age, right now, every quarterback has had bad weeks. He just happened to have consecutive.
I
It's part of
I,
it.
I would have to agree.
Um,
I
but no, he
think
is a top tier quarterback for sure.
he shows signs of like being what Josh Allen was last year, and Patrick Mahomes in prior years. So I think he's got the weapons too. That having the weapons just makes it 10 times easier. We can't
Get
judge.
that
We,
one?
we can't. Huh? Sorry, what'd you say? What I was saying was I think Joe Burrow has all the weapons that he needs to especially look that good. We can't judge him as far as using mm, terrible receivers because he's put in a situation where he has great targets. Um, so I think he's also up there, and I think he can only go up from here. And then I want to go. Obviously, I don't know how closely you follow Indy and the Patriots, but now there are quarterback issues between the two. Last night, or I guess we'll talk about last night's game first. Monday Night Football. Mac Jones was benched. I don't know if you saw that, but
Yeah, I did.
Bailey was killing it after. Like he came in like confident as hell, was throwing deep bombs. What do you think? Who should be the starter in New England?
I like the kid. Um, I think he's got some talent. I think he's one of those small ball or small college kids who just tore it up in college and has had the right upbringing on things. But I'm not sold just yet. But I'm wishing and hoping for another Brady and Bledsoe moment for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
the thing is, I think Mac Jones is a great quarterback. I think
I think so too.
he can find a role on another team. Um, but yeah, I think Bailey just fits Belichick's offense a little bit better. He has a little bit more of a deeper arm that can help, and yeah, and then I guess I want to touch on that. I said I think Mac Jones fits on another team. I don't think Matt Ryan fits on another team at this point. So now I want to talk about Indy. Do you think Matt Ryan can come back and take the starting job again, or is it not his anymore?
Yeah, no, I think he can.
I think he
I've
can.
always liked I've always liked Matt Ryan.
Hmm.
I think he came from Boston College where he was a top passing.
Mhm.
quarterback there in college, and I think he had a lot of great success
Mhm.
in Atlanta. And I like Frank Wright and all the things that he's into. And I think Matt Ryan does fit that scheme. I think they need to add a couple more tools on offense for
Gotcha.
that to
I
finally come complete.
The thing that amazed me was that he has 9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? He has 11 fumbles. I think took 24 sacks so far. So yes, it could be on the O line as far as the fumbles and everything goes. Maybe he's being a little bit too rushed, but I think he has maybe I want to say 2 solid options as far as like receivers go. I think Paris Campbell as long as my boy Michael Pittman. I think those are not obviously not tier 1 options, but they're not bad. You can keep looking at them. I think I watched an interview regarding Michael Pittman. He said all of the wide receivers have proven that they can make big plays. It's just that they're the offense is not trusting them right now. Um, so I want to see how he goes. Uh, but yeah, I think Matt Ryan he looks a little washed in my opinion. But I want obviously I don't want him to be, but yeah, I want whatever is best for Indy at this point.
I get you.
All right, and then I will run down my top 10 power rankings, and then I want to hear yours, and then we're gonna hop right into fantasy football. Fantasy football.
Sounds good.
All right, so my top 10 are Buffalo, Kansas City, and then this one was hard to do, but I put Philadelphia over Baltimore. I have Baltimore at 4.
Mm.
Then I have Cincy at 5, Minnesota at 6, and this is what I never thought I would say. I have the New York Giants at 7. I have Dallas at 8. And then somehow, some way, I'm gonna keep them in here. I still have the Chargers at 9 and the Bucks at 10. So that's what we're gonna do for now.
Interesting.
Hmm.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I have to go Buffalo number one. I got to go Kansas City number two.
Hmm.
I'm putting. I'm three is the tough one.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna put Philly. Um, and then right after that, I'm actually gonna put Minnesota. Um, and then I'm
I
gonna
like that.
have New York, the Giants, and then I'm going to put the Cowboys right after the Giants.
Okay.
And then where am I at? What number is that? I forget. Um, but I have the Jets following them, and
Sheesh.
then
Do you say
uh,
Baltimore yet?
no,
What?
no, and then I'll have well, no, yes, now I'll have Baltimore,
Okay.
um, and then I'm throwing the Bengals.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
yeah,
I like it. I like it. Some a little difference in there. I haven't had someone on the podcast throw the Jets in there yet, which is
yeah.
some new life. We like to see that.
I like it.
But
I love them.
so we're gonna dive right into fantasy football now. Topic everyone loves. You're in a league. I'm in some leagues.
Yeah,
I want to ask you: are these players reliable or not reliable, in your opinion? Doesn't have to be a long explanation. Just you tell me, and I'll just say one response. Chris Olave.
unreliable.
Okay, I think he is reliable. He looked like he got a lot of targets. AJ Dillon.
Uh, unreliable.
I agree, unreliable. And then Greg Dulcich.
My boy. That's a guy I played against in middle school.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ.
but I think reliable as of right now.
Nice, we take it. I also say reliable. Wait, did you say unreliable? Oh,
Reliable.
okay, okay. Yeah, I was about to say. Um, and then wire pickups to aim for. I will start off. I will go Tyler Algier, Atlanta's running back. He's averaged a little bit over 12 carries a game, and his yardage production is not terrible. So I want to say I would pick him up for the long run. If you need a running back in the future, I would keep him there for you.
That's true. No, I think I drafted him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, I had strong beliefs about the kid out of BYU. One of my wire pickups is Deontay Foreman. Um, good running back.
Hmm.
Just obviously got overshadowed by CMC a little bit in Carolina, and got to prove his time against Tampa Bay. And Chuba
Yeah,
Hubbard.
yeah.
Um, they're splitting reps a little bit there, but Chuba kind of has a small injury
Hmm.
on terms of that. So I think Deontay Foreman picking him up and starting him is a good move.
Okay. Yeah. So my other one was Hubbard. Uh, I know. Yeah, he does have a little bit of an injury. I think if you keep him there, he might be valuable in the future because we've
Oh,
seen in
absolutely.
years past he is the option right after whenever CMC gets hurt. So now knowing CMC is gone, I would like be able to rely on him. I mean, he had a touchdown this week on 60 yards. He looks like he can be that guy. So I mean, it comes down to who Carolina ends up choosing. But if you don't pick him up this week, I think someone in your league will because everybody he should be picked up already after last week, seeing CMC gone. But if he's still available, I'd try to save him there.
Yeah, that's a good take. I think he put up some good numbers last week, and he's a strong running back. He's ran it in college at Oklahoma State under Gundy, but I think that's another great pickup that you should have on your roster for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of my pickups was Greg Dulcich.
Love
Um,
it.
yeah, who put up a couple good numbers, and the 2 weeks that he got to play, he was injured for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But good, strong tight end. Got some good hands and can get down the field pretty well. But yeah, I think
I
got
mean,
to get him
on
on
top
board.
of his good hands, like we know that when Russell Wilson is healthy, he loves targeting tight ends. We saw
Oh
that
yeah.
all the time in Seattle with Jimmy Graham, right?
Hmm.
It's it's like his version of a check down,
Yeah.
in
Oh,
my opinion.
100%.
He just loves. It's very reliable for him. We saw the first few weeks he didn't go towards. It took a while for I think Judy to get the first wide receiver reception, so I like that. I like that take as well.
Hmm.
And then, do you have any more, or do you want to hop right into the sleepers to start?
Sleepers are good.
All right. Mine is Michael Carter. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get James Robinson acclimated with, how the Jets are going to run their offense. So I think for this week, Michael Carter is going to get the majority of the touches. I'm not saying Robinson won't get anything, but I think Carter will get everything. Um, that like not everything, but he'll get the majority of his touches um, early on and in big moments when they need him.
Yeah, that's it. I agree with that one. Um, this one, I was shocked to see that only 83% of rosters, according to ESPN, have this guy on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Mostert, guy puts up numbers.
Yeah,
He's good. You saw him; he was dynamic out of San Francisco. Um, Led them to the Super Bowl. To be honest with you, and just good all around the ball. And I think he's a great addition for Miami. I think he's having a field day against Detroit.
we love it. Yeah, I mean, I wanted him. I think a week or two ago. I was looking for him on waivers, but yeah, my leagues were on top of that one. They got him early.
Yeah,
And all right, so would do you have another one, or can we go on?
I'm good.
For all the viewers out here who don't know who CJ is, he played quarterback for our high school, and for our player versus player comparison rapid fire thingy, I wanted to do quarterback for him, and we are both from LA, so we're gonna do Justin Herbert. I'm just gonna name 10 names out there. You tell me, second it comes to your for the first name between the two that comes to your mind, who you think is better. We'll do fantasy wise if that makes sense.
Yeah, sounds good.
So Josh Allen.
And I wait
Yeah. So do you compare whatever name I say to Justin Herbert?
in terms of what?
Fantasy,
Just
like
good,
who? Yeah,
better.
yeah. Who's better? So first, Josh Allen,
Josh Allen,
Joe Burrow,
Joe Burrow,
Lamar Jackson,
Justin Herbert,
Patrick Mahomes,
Pat Mahomes,
Tua,
Herbert,
Tom Brady,
Herbert,
Derek Carr,
Herbert,
Matthew Stafford,
Herbert.
Jalen Hurts.
Toss up.
Okay, Russell Wilson.
Herbert.
Okay, I like it. I agree with a lot of them. It's hard to even knowing the slow start Herbert has had. It's hard to ever count him out. He can
Oh
always
yeah,
he's
without
so
a
good.
doubt.
He can always go crazy.
Without a
Um,
doubt.
yeah. So yeah, I mentioned earlier. I don't know if you got a chance to look at prize pick plays for this week. Last
Yeah.
week I went 3 for 3, so it was really nice. The week before I went 0 for 5, so it was really good. Like bounce back week,
Hmm.
and it was nice to see. Really good predictions on my part. I have 3 again this week. Do you have any?
Yeah, I have two actually.
Okay, so I'll go and then we'll just switch it off.
Perfect.
I have Josh Jacobs over 83.5 rush yards. Reason being is that he's coming off an insane stretch of games right now, right? And he's going against a bottom 10 run defense in the Saints, who've allowed 862 rush yards so far on 4.6 yards per carry. So if he continues what he's been doing, it should just continue the streak that he's on.
Good take. Yeah, I like that one. I have Derek Carr over 250.5 passing yards against New Orleans.
Okay.
I like it. I think he's got a strong arm. He's got his receiving crew. Once again, I think New Orleans is not all that on defense
Defense, yeah.
just yet. So
Yeah, if New Orleans produces on the offense side, that should be a pretty big shootout in my opinion. And then after I have Derrick Henry, they raised his last week. It was I think 82 and a half, 83 and a half. It's now over. I'm taking the over 100.5 rush yards, and this is a huge number. You're basically asking for another 100 yard rush game from him, but he's coming off of three straight, so I'm gonna take that. Houston is just under 1,000 yards allowed rushing so far, so they're bottom four in the league, and they are again bottom four with 5.2 yards per carry. So Derrick Henry, he's the only guy basically who's getting touches. I mean, Dontrell Hilliard, he gets it here and there, but Derrick Henry's getting most of it. You always see him in the game, so he'll be. I want to say he'll be hitting that one.
I like that one too. Um, this one, Justin Jefferson. I think he smashes the over on the 90.5 receiving yards against Arizona. I mean, Green Bay, you saw him against Green Bay, and I think they have a similar taste in defensive styles compared to Arizona and Green Bay. And God, they just couldn't keep track of the man. He's all over the field, especially at home in the school atmosphere. I think he just crushes that one.
Gotcha. And then my last one. uh, I think this was probably my most confident one. I want to say Trevor Lawrence under 230.5 pass yards. Reason I kind of mentioned before, but the Broncos defense has only allowed 1,212 pass yards on the year, which means they only allowed 173.1 pass yards a game. And that is ranked second among NFL teams per game. And Trevor Lawrence is not that good. Like, he has games so far where he's gone over, which obviously makes the line go up a little bit. But Denver leads the league in only allowing 4.8 yards per attempt, right? So we mentioned how good Denver's defense is, and I think a lot of it is the pass defense. Their rush defense is pretty mid, I want to say, but their pass defense is really, really good. And I don't think Trevor Lawrence should be a quarterback that I don't think he's at the caliber where he can compete with that good of a pass defense. He's not a Josh Allen, not a Justin Herbert quite yet. So
I agree with that one. No, that's good take there. All right, this last one here, Ryan Suckup over 1.5 field
it's a
goals made.
Thursday.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, I mean, the way Tom Brady's looking right now, he just got to get him to the red zone.
yeah. And I like in general, I like a lot of the kickers. If their line's at 1.5, hammer the over.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
I'll be posting Monday night football, Sunday night football, and Thursday night football games on my TikTok. I'll do maybe 2 or 3 props each one. But looking ahead, I like that pick. I might have to throw that one in there as well. But yeah, that's it for football. And I mentioned CJ is quite the athlete, so he knows a lot about other sports as well. So we're gonna hop into the MLB.
Sweet.
I I want to talk about the World Series real quick, but I also want to take a pause and say, what are your reactions on maybe the Dodgers getting Judge?
Oof. Well, first of all, being a huge Dodgers fan, very disappointing season. Most disappointing team in Dodgers history, going 111 wins and not making it past the second round. Very disappointing.
Dude, and it couldn't be it couldn't be to another team but the Padres, right?
Yeah, yeah, you got yeah. Um, and so I think Judge. I don't know. The Judge hold trade situation is very confusing. I haven't seen a whole lot of insider reports on what he's thinking. If he went to the Dodgers, Mookie Betts would move to second base most likely.
Yeah, they said they're moving him to the infield for sure.
Yeah, I think he's just a good athlete in general. Mm-hmm. I think having a bat like Judge's in the lineup would be huge. Obviously, I'm just scared of what we would have to give up in terms of Judge.
Yeah.
And the things we would have to give up is a part of our culture.
True. That is true. Yeah, I mean, I still have yet to decide as a baseball fan which team I want to keep rooting on because right now I want to say Angels just because of Shohei, but it really is just because of Shohei and Trout. But I like as a team, I love the Dodgers a lot more. They're so much more fun to watch. I love
Mhm.
Freddie Freeman, Mookie. Like it's not a team you can really hate on.
Mhm.
But Shohei goes to the Dodgers, and no doubt it's a Dodger. No, just kidding. They're not getting Judge and Shohei. That would be amazing
No, no,
though.
no.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about the big thing, big topic at hand right now. Uh, we have the Phillies Astros set for Friday, and obviously, I don't know if you tuned into the first two episodes, but my predictions were pretty off. I gave a couple picks for who I thought would go to the World Series. I had neither of these teams, but as of last week, I thought the Astros would I thought the Phillies would beat the Padres. Um, and I thought the Phillies would win the World Series from the top four. How much do you think Bryce Harper can do as far as getting the Phillies there? Like he's already done it. Do you think he can upset the Astros?
Um, I think they can. I think they can. I don't know if they will. The Astros are a solid team, as I hate to say that because in my book they are cheaters.
Yeah, I mean me
Um,
and you both.
yeah, don't like them at all. Actually, most despised team in the league for me. But I mean, the Astros have their pitching, they have the bats, they have the young bats. Dusty Baker. The only reason I'd love to see them win is for Dusty Baker to
Yeah.
get a World
I
Series
feel like
ring.
that's everyone. That's the only reason why anybody wants them to win.
Yeah,
But a
Dusty
lot of
Baker's
people just don't want to see them take a dub.
no, exactly. I would hate that. But Phillies, they have talent all around. They have bats all around. They have young stars. They have guys that are so ambitious. Just get get a ring. I think Harper deserves a ring. I
I
think he
agree.
does.
He plays his heart out.
He does. He puts everything into it. I mean, that's why you don't see him all over the social media stuff and all that in terms of off season because he's working.
Yeah.
That guy's working.
I mean,
So
everybody talks about how terrible of a teammate he is and what type of guy he is, but I love him. I think he is like the definition of an athlete. He
yeah,
pours his heart into the game, and I
he's the
think
tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
want to see him win. I don't know if he'll get back here, with the way like I think other teams are being built. It's hard to see like them getting back, especially if the Astros are this consistent. I still think the Braves are that good. Like I think the Braves might be back, uh, but I'll say it right now. If Bryce Harper and the Phillies win this year, like I said last week, I'll buy a Bryce Harper jersey like the second they win. Like I want one, but I need and I've been waiting to swipe. And this will just help convince me like it's gonna happen. Uh,
bold take.
yeah, let's do it. But I mean, I guess as far as your overall prediction goes, who do you think is gonna win?
I think Astros will win. I think they'll win in five.
Okay.
Um, I don't want that to happen, obviously, but I think that's what's going to happen. The Philadelphia home base is going to help Philly as much as it can, but
Hmm.
it's not going to stop the Astros.
So you
Um,
so you think they win 4-1?
yep.
Okay. I think obviously I said the Phillies. It's more of a want, but I'm gonna say that the Phillies win in 7. I don't think they can hit any lower. Ah, no, I'm gonna say 6. I'm gonna say we get a lucky one. The issue for me is that obviously it being 4 days in advance right now, we don't know the pitching lineup. So I want to say like they take one, but I don't know who's pitching because we know the Astros have some solid pitchers. Um, the Phillies have their own, but
Yeah.
it's hard to say the Phillies can 100% grind this out because they don't have the most like the greatest pitchers on their depth chart. So,
Yeah.
um, and we're gonna find out. So for game one, what's your score prediction? Who do you think wins?
Game one in Houston, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Game one in Houston. I think Houston wins 6-2.
All
Yep.
right, I think they come out, and I think Bryce Harper hits a dinger for sure. So I think he gets one. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 2-run homer. Um, we can go 3-2 Phillies.
Ooh.
Trying to take. I think they take game one. That's the only way I see them. I see my overall prediction standing a chance. But yeah, I guess I wish there was more to talk about in the MLB scene, but we are cracking down into the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll transition right into the NBA. We got a couple more minutes left for you.
Cool.
Who is your? I mean, I think this is a question I'm gonna continue asking everybody who comes on my podcast just to see the differences in opinions. But who is your sleeper team this year? Who do you think can surprise people the most? So to give you a little bit of insight, mine was the Detroit Pistons. I think they have a very young lineup and can show that maybe they make the eighth seed. Who knows? You know.
hmm I personally think it's the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
I know they've been in the big stages before, but I think this is the year they finally get over that hump.
Okay.
Um, and I think they make big noise in terms of they've had their big moments in the past, but it's been like well we'll see how they do next year.
Yeah.
But I think if they don't get it this year, then it's destined to come.
Yeah. I agree. I like that. I like that pick as well. Um. Yeah. So being LA boys, thoughts on the Lakers? I don't know if you've been following, but
Yeah, so I'm a Clippers fan.
oh my god,
Yeah, no,
I
big Clippers
forgot.
fan.
So this is
But
golden for you.
yeah, it's awesome. Um, you see those teams that just add all this power and all that, but they can't get it done. And
Yeah.
that's the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's bottom line.
Right now,
They
yeah. You know how hard it like I don't like the Lakers. Don't get me wrong. Like I like them when they were rebuilding. I like them when they had Kobe, but I've mentioned I'm not the biggest on LeBron. I think he's a great player, but I'm not the biggest fan of him. So I didn't like him when he went to the Lakers, and I'm not too fond of them right now. But it's
yeah.
really hard to still watch. Every time I open like TikTok or Instagram, I see another Lakers player airballing. Like, and I'm rooting for Westbrook here. Like, I want him to do well, but then you can tell the team chemistry is just not there. Like, he takes a shot, and LeBron and AD are shaking their head. And this is coming after LeBron took a terrible shot himself. And I'm looking at everybody in the comments. They're like, "Do you know who LeBron is?" I'm like, "Yeah, everyone knows who LeBron is. Like, he deserves these shots." But if you're LeBron on a team with Russell Westbrook and AD, you can't be mad if he's taking a shot that he thinks is in the best interest of the team. Like he's not just throwing up some random crap, right? Like he's trying to get the ball back. That's what it comes down to. Like I think it's just a like it's a build up. You know, he's frustrated with the losses. He never would have done that in Miami. I don't think he would have shown such a reaction to D Wade, to Chris Bosh, no matter how like much of a slump they were in, if that makes any sense.
No, that yeah, it does. I think you know it's once again you have Russell Westbrook, who is a very good player.
Yeah,
I mean, has been for so many years now. And then you have Anthony Davis and you have LeBron James and you have such other key implemental parts to a team that
yeah.
easily can succeed and win. Um, I don't see him getting past like maybe the fifth seed
Yeah.
if they
You know,
even make.
I when we talk about how like we still think Westbrook's a great player, the 0-11 scares me a little bit, and I think the reason being is that you remember when Joey Gallo was on the Yankees,
Yep.
and the Yankees were just the fans were tearing him apart. You know, it was a toxic environment for him, and it reflected in his gameplay. You know, he struck out almost every at bat. I want to say he was not playing well, and in the same way, you translate that to the NBA. Westbrook is not in a good spot right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he knows the spotlight is on him if he does bad. If he does well, it's not on him. It's just what he should be doing, right? But
Yeah.
oh, you miss a shot, you take a bad shot. It's like 2 years ago, like 3 years ago. Who cares? Because he's putting up these numbers, right? But yeah, people don't understand. He's on a different team now. He's not the number one guy, so he can't put up these insane numbers. And then they're just bagging on him everything he does. Um, so
Yeah.
for Westbrook's sake, I hope he gets moved um, to a team that appreciates him a little bit more and a less toxic environment because I mean you can't really expect something different from one of the biggest markets in basketball. So I don't know if it's OKC, a team like Sac who needs something. I mean Utah looks like they could use a Russell Westbrook right now,
Yeah.
especially after moving Donovan Mitchell, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got two more questions for you.
Mhm.
Who is, in your opinion, the best team so far? Who's looking like early front
Um,
runners?
I like Boston.
Hmm.
I do. I've always liked Boston. I think as weird as this may sound, I like how they added Blake Griffin
Dude, I
to their
think he's a
roster.
good player.
Oh, I love Blake
Yeah,
Griffin. Obviously, being a Clippers fan, I love him. But I think adding someone like that who can help out down low and has the grit and determination to just fight,
yeah,
um, I think it's a great addition. I think they're back. I
yeah,
think they go back and they go far, along with Milwaukee and Golden State and all them. But
yeah. I like it. I like it. For me, I would put it up there as well. I want to say, um, even though they lost by quite a bit to DeMar DeRozan and the Bulls yesterday, I still think they're showing like they're a very good team. You, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are putting up insane numbers together, and so I like them. I like the Blazers, and I like the Warriors. Looks good for me. I mean, I thought coming into the year, Anthony Simons would be the most improved player, and he's doing a lot better. So I like to see it. And then one last question for you:
yeah,
Who surprised you so far in the first 3-4 games of the season?
Portland.
Portland.
Um,
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
they haven't lost yet.
yeah, exactly. That's obvious. But I think they're just. I wonder how far this is going to go. Honestly,
Not long, not
I
long.
really, I really don't know. I don't think it lasts too long. I still think they're missing key parts of their lineup.
Mhm.
I just don't. I don't think they completely get the job done that they want to get done. I love Lillard.
Yeah, you
It's just
cannot.
they need more.
Yeah, I mean it's all right though. They're 4-1. I want to say,
Yeah.
they're 4-0, but they play Miami
No.
tomorrow, so they are 4-1 now to me. Uh, we'll see, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I had some notes for the PGA that I wanted to throw in last week. I thought Sam Burns and Rory McIlroy would win the CJ Cup in South Carolina. I
Mm,
didn't get to say that on time, so now it looks like I'm just throwing words back because McIlroy actually won.
yeah.
But I mean, I can't wait till the next event. We'll cover that a little bit. Um, but yeah, I appreciate it. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Not really. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course,
And
it was great. I want to do this again sometime if you are down. Um,
definitely,
but yeah, that was thank you to CJ for hopping on. Hopefully,
always.
all of our predictions go well, and yeah, we'll update you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, y'all.